Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lunch Table Podcast. We are back. Me and Alan, we are finally back. We have been busy with the football season and school and whatever, everything, but we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are pleased to make a return to the podcast ways, and we are happy to do this again. Alan, how you doing, my friend? How you doing?
I am doing great, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We missed out on a lot of stuff. Not gonna lie, there was some big news out here and there, but we couldn't fit the time to make a podcast. But we're just gonna go over some of the stuff that's been happening this past week or two. Mainly, we're gonna be talking about the NFL draft that happened, a little bit with the baseball news because we weren't able to cover opening day. Also, we're gonna dive in on Washington and see how we like their pickups. Also, some free agency moves because again, we didn't make a podcast. And we're also going to be talking about the European Super League, which I don't know if Alan knows a lot. I don't really know a lot, but I figured to bring it up because let's just say some fans were not happy yesterday. But we're going to begin with the draft, and we're not going to be talking about Washington first. We're going to be talking about some of the quarterbacks that are selected first.
I wish we were talking about Washington right now. It should have been in this.
Yeah, okay, well, that's your opinion. I'm happy with what we did with our pickup. But anyway, Alan, were you surprised by any quarterbacks? Obviously, probably the Chicago trade was probably the biggest one. But yeah, go ahead, Alan.
I was not surprised. Well, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, 1 and 2, has been kind of like assumed for like the last probably since like January.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance, I wasn't surprised that San Francisco chose Trey Lance over Mac Jones. I personally would have chose Justin Fields, but I'm no way trading 3 first-round picks to go up and just like Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Never going to do that. Like he doesn't hold the upside over any of the other quarterbacks there. But then Mac Jones, 15th to the Patriots, is I think about what everyone expected before he got all the hype. But I didn't expect Justin Fields to fall all the way to 11th. I would have expected someone to come up significantly earlier. But Bears fans, I know, are extremely happy with selecting Justin Fields because this is like, I think Bears fans were saying this is the first time they made a quarterback selection where everyone didn't think he was a huge reach. Like Trubisky, everyone thought that was a bad pick. But like Bears fans are actually hopeful for Justin Fields.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Obviously, 1 and 2 were kind of predicted. I mean, I'm still a little. I know I was kind of like earlier. I was kind of on the Zach Wilson, train and whatnot. But I'm still kind of confused because I've actually been watching, others and like teams that he's played. He hasn't really played that many tough collegiate teams. Like he would play like Texas State, North Alabama. Like I'm sorry, compared to Justin Fields who played, Penn State, Michigan, Clemson in the playoffs. I mean, I mean, we'll see how Zach Wilson will do in New York, especially because, it's the Jets and hopefully, we'll see what the Jets will do with him. But I think you also got to look at, with the Trey Lance pick as well. I mean, Trey Lance looks good, but again, like he didn't. How many games has he played? Because he didn't play
like 17. I think it was the same amount of games Mac Jones has started. Like they both started the same amount of games.
So there's that. I mean, again, it's also North Dakota State University, who, if I believe their division isn't too powerhouse as well. So there's that.
They produced a lot of NFL quarterbacks though. Compared to like other D1 schools, like first-round quarterbacks, it's impressive for a Division II school.
Yeah, but
it's not Division II, it's FCS,
they're
D1.
Right? No, they're D1.
FCS. I've never understood the difference between FCS and FBS, so my fault.
Well, either way, I mean, again, I think personally, the 49ers probably should have took Justin Fields. But they feel like they got their guy. If they got their guy, great. If they didn't get their guy, well, I think Kyle Shanahan and whoever their GM is going to be out in the next probably 2 to 3 years.
I don't know. I feel like it'd be pretty hard to run Shanahan out. Like he does a lot with quarterbacks who are like bad. Like I think you were pointed out, like there was a stat that's like the 49ers backup quarterback has the same career yards per play as Aaron Rodgers purely through Kyle Shanahan's system, which is insane.
Yeah, but I just think it's tricky too because, you got I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, I think Jimmy Garoppolo isn't terrible.
He's probably going to start. He's probably going to start.
He's a decent quarterback. like I saw a thing like Jimmy Garoppolo isn't a Patrick Mahomes, an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady. He's not that caliber of a player, but he's a quarterback that'll get you a decent amount of wins. He'll
Yeah.
he'll throw maybe 200, 250 yards per game, and he'll get you a touchdown or two here and there. I mean, I just think the only tricky thing was for the 49ers was the injuries. They just
He also did get hurt a lot. That was one of the worst parts.
Yeah, so I think I might understand why they might have drafted Trey Lance, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, maybe, I don't know if, hopefully it was worth 3 first-round picks, because if it isn't worth...
I think Trey Lance has the potential of everyone. So, Ben, you know my opinion. I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this class.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the Zach Wilson upside, but like Trey Lance has the tools to be a top 5 quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when they will get there or if he'll ever get there, but he certainly has like the running ability. Is probably top 3 coming into the NFL. I think Lamar and Kyler are probably still better because they're just proven against NFL defenses. But he's going to come in and bring an actual running game right away.
Yeah, but I guess the only question is if you're like, isn't Justin Fields a lot more mobile? Like, if they're going to use Trey Lance's mobile game, then why wouldn't they choose the more agile?
Trey Lance is more like Cam Newton, though. He's like more of like a power runner. Like Justin Fields could get out. Like Justin Fields will probably do like read options with.
Mm-hmm.
But Trey Lance, I think, like at North Dakota State, I think ran a lot more compared to like Justin Fields.
Yeah. True. And then we got, Mac Jones going to, well, Justin Fields, obviously, if you haven't told or heard or seen, he got drafted by the Bears. The Bears, quote unquote, or Bears fans think they got their quarterback, but I'm a little skeptical because that is kind of where quarterbacks die in Chicago with the Bears.
Chicago had everything right except their quarterback was garbage. I don't know why they made their quarterback decisions.
Yeah, but they've had a history of not having a good quarterback. Like they've had
I think Bears fans have said they've never had a good quarterback in like their franchise history.
Yeah.
Bears fans have complained. They just like never had anyone good.
They've had decent quarterbacks. They've never had that great caliber quarterback that most, if not every team has had. But yeah, I mean, I know you were pretty pissed because you really like Justin Fields and you really wanted him to come somehow trickle down to Washington, but
I wanted to trade up at 4, but Kyle Pitts happened. I was ready to give up our entire draft class for Justin Fields, and Ron Rivera apparently disagrees. I know. Ron Rivera has earned my trust. If he didn't like Justin Fields, it means we're probably trading up next year. I'm cool with that.
I don't think if it was I don't like him, I think it was just I don't want to sacrifice everything for him. You kind of know what I mean?
But like, if we gave up the same thing the Bears gave up, our defense carried us to the playoffs last year with like bad quarterback play, like very bad quarterback play. So Justin Fields would just need to be not throw checkdowns the whole game and throw picks like Dwayne Haskins, and we're probably winning the division again. Like I don't like the first round pick they gave up. I don't think is going to be a high pick. Like the Bears are in the same. Like the Bears, I think are remarkably close to us, except I think our team is a lot younger, so that's why it's better for us. Like our team, all of our defensive players are still on their rookie contracts, and they have aging veterans. So that's why they probably made the move because they need to make the move. But
yeah, they're probably in a win now type of mood. But
yeah,
there's that. And then probably with our last quarterback, I believe that was selected in the first round was Mac Jones going to the Patriots.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's another Tom Brady type quarterback for Bill Belichick to probably end up making to win 7 more Super Bowls and then.
But he's got to beat Cam Newton out though. Like Cam Newton's not a bad quarterback in the NFL.
No, I think Cam Newton will start, and if Cam Newton starts doing pretty bad, Mac Jones will go in, or they'll just do a type of Aaron Rodgers type with Jordan Love. You sit, let him play, learn, get to know.
We'll see how that Aaron Rodgers situation happened.
We'll move on to that. We'll move on to that because that's coming up next. But we'll move on to that. But besides that, were you I guess continuing on with the draft, were there any? I mean, did you find any surprises? I think Miami had a great first round.
I think if Jalen Phillips' medicals clear out, that's an excellent first round. And compared to their like first round last year, where I think there were a bunch of reaches, This year, I think they got like all like players that I think should have gone by their picks. Like I don't think they reached.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
I guess moving on, like, because they got weapons for Tua. Tua has weapons to work with, and I think if the next 2 years, if they don't make the playoffs, and
I
Tua
think
is
they're gonna
still
make the playoffs just with their defense though. So that's why it's like Trubisky. They let him go because their defense was good anyway. I think the Dolphins' defense is gonna be good enough to get some. They didn't make the playoffs this year, right? They just got out. I think the Dolphins' defense will get them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Tua probably doesn't need to. Tua has to be like better than last year, which I think is a bit unfair to him because we know Tua isn't like athletic, so he's probably gonna have to rely more on the mental aspect of the game. And with the COVID and everything, the offseason being short, I think it was disadvantaged to lesser athletic players. Like that's why I think Herbert, in a sense, did better.
Yeah.
Oregon also could just be bad at their offense, and that's why Herbert just was played better in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I guess I agree. I also think Justin Herbert, I think, also probably just fit a lot better in the Chargers offensive scheme. I think Tua is still like he's still learning because I think if you remember, or didn't he just come off the hip injury when he got drafted? So he didn't play for probably months, and then the Dolphins, I guess you could say, took a chance, but I don't know if you would really consider they took a chance.
It was pretty high
on
up
him.
picks. I don't know if it was a chance.
So, yeah, there's that. But besides, I mean, any other teams really surprise you in the draft? I mean,
the Raiders. I didn't think Alex Leatherwood was going to go like, I think he went like 16 or 17. That was a bit higher than I thought. Travis Etienne in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
That was selected by which team? That was the Jags, right?
Yep.
And they just had an undrafted free agent go for 1,000 yards. They just proved you don't need a first round running back, and then picked a first round running back. I think that's a pretty serious blunder.
Mm.
I think they should have drafted an offensive tackle to like actually help their quarterback, or I don't know, a receiver, somebody that actually contributes to the offense. No offense to running backs, it's not their fault. It's just like how running backs are. I was surprised to see Waddle go ahead of Devontae Smith, to be honest.
Yeah, true, because the Eagles did get their, I guess you could say, guy with Devontae Smith, but we'll also see how Jalen Hurts plays out because that's still another question mark, as well as a lot of rookie quarterbacks from last year's draft. But yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna leave the draft on with a little bit of a break, and we're actually be talking about something that's been going on in Green Bay. Their star quarterback, actually reigning MVP, Aaron Rodgers. There's been reports that he wants out of Green Bay. He does not want to be a part of Green Bay, and I mean, in my opinion, I agree. I would be in the same picture as Aaron Rodgers because, I mean, if you think about, I think there was like some that came out that was like in the past 10 drafts, the Packers have always chose in the first round defensive player. The one offensive player that they chose, Jordan Love. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, you're like, I need help. I need weapons. Cool. You mean Devontae Adams is an unbelievable wide receiver. You need other wide receivers to help him out. And I also believe this is partially also because I have a feeling he's going to be the next host of Jeopardy. And I have a feeling, flying from Green Bay, Wisconsin to California is probably a little pricey after a while. So I wonder if he wants to move out west as well.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers news is surprising because I don't think Green Bay is going to let him go. Like, I don't think he's getting traded. Right? That, like, I was surprised Tom Brady left, but like this is like a literal reigning MVP. If I were the GM, I'm like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. Like, I don't even want the draft picks. I don't want someone else to have a better chance at winning a Super Bowl because you're going somewhere else. Which might seem like, oh, you're going to get nothing back for them, or you're just not giving another team basically nearly a heightened chance to win the Super Bowl, right? Because like, if you're giving him to any team that's willing to offer up their draft picks, they probably have a roster around the team already ready, but no quarterback. Like, I think a lot of people say the Broncos are likely favorites. In no world would I trade Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos and let them nearly win a Super Bowl. I would force him to go to retirement, to be honest, which I would hate to say because I think I'm on Aaron's side. Like, the Packers just messed their offseason up so many times, like including this draft. This draft was reach after reach. Like they took the center in like the second round when Creed Humphrey, which I think most people had thought was the second best center, was picked ahead of him, and then Creed Humphrey went to the next picks, the Chiefs. Like I just don't understand that decision, like really at all.
Yeah, but I think also, I mean, one way I'll contradict the GM side is like, if you traded up to get a quarterback in last year's draft to select Jordan Love. In some way,
I don't think that's a bad. I don't think that's a bad pick, right?
I mean,
like if you have a quarterback who's playing well, develop.
I mean, yeah, develop. But at the same time, like, I mean, I have a feeling Aaron Rodgers probably in a scenario kind of like, not Brett Favre, but I think like a scenario will go down where he'll just say, "I'm not coming back. I'm not going to play unless you trade me." Like try and pull like a James, like something in the NBA or something like that. Just say, "I'm not going to play until you trade me," and then they'll probably end up trading him. I think he might go to the Raiders or Broncos.
I think people like forget like the financial impact though. Like the Packers would take on a lot of money to trade him. Like a lot of, I think it'd be like $38 million in dead cap. And if Aaron Rodgers retired, it's like 11. He has to pay back the team $11 million for the next 2 years. So I think the most likely scenario is the Green Bay Packers probably fire their GM and try to get Aaron to come back. Because honestly, Aaron's way harder to replace than their GM. You can find qualified GMs all over the place, but you're not going to find Aaron Rodgers every day.
True.
Like Aaron Rodgers is what, top 5 the last 30 years?
3. I'd argue top 3.
What, Peyton, Tom, and him?
No,
yeah, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Aaron. And then I'd say Brees is probably 4.
Yeah.
I'm probably forgetting some good quarterback in the 90s, but I mean from like 2000 on.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I kind of I just feel bad for Aaron Rodgers because, I mean, imagine you're sitting back. You're doing everything you possibly you're doing as much as you can to help to make it to the Super Bowl. You always make it to the NFC Championship, and then you lose. So I wish Green Bay would be in the sense of kind of like Tampa Bay with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, only because, Tampa Bay has basically said, all right, who do you want, Tom? We'll pick who you want. They got who Tom wanted. They ended up winning a Super Bowl. If Green Bay would say, okay, Aaron, what would you like? I guarantee you the Packers would probably have 2 to 3 Super Bowls.
No, some people want to say you shouldn't give the player that much like control over how the roster is built. I'm like, but it's a franchise QB. If any person on the team is going to get that control, give it to the franchise QB who's been there for over 15 years.
Mm-hmm. He's won, 2 MVPs? 2 or 3 MVPs?
It's something like that. It's, yeah.
2 or
but
3
he's always
MVPs.
been very talented.
He's like probably made the Pro Bowl, I think, pretty much every single year or most years. I mean, yeah, I'm just, I just feel bad.
I'm on Aaron's side. I'm on Aaron's side, but I just don't think he has much leverage. Really.
I guess we'll see. I mean, imagine if he comes to Washington. Hear me out. Here.
I don't want to give up what it would take for that, though, to be honest.
But yet you were willing to give up an entire draft class for Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is like 15 years younger.
Still, do you want to win now? Is it win now mentality or a win maybe 3 to 4 years? I'm in a win now mentality.
I want whoever gives us the most Super Bowls. And I think Justin Fields gives us the best potential because we'd have to take on Aaron Rodgers' like salary. And Justin Fields' salary would be like $10 million a year compared to like 30.
Dang well if Green Bay called Washington, Dan Snyder would be on that phone and he would somehow find a way to get Aaron Rodgers on. Or
it depends. It depends what we'd have to give up. I'm not giving up Chase Young or Terry. Anybody else? I love my defensive line, but they're all good to go. Chase is the only one I need to stay.
All right. Well, I guess moving on. We're going to recap just a little bit of what Washington has done over this offseason. They've actually made some pretty good picks in the draft, and also we're just going to go over again who they signed in free agency. So would you like to go over, I guess, who we drafted, because you know a lot more about them than I do?
All right, yeah. So we had Jamin Davis in the first round, which is the linebacker from Kentucky. I believe he was a redshirt junior coming out. And then the second round, we drafted Samuel Cosme. He's a tackle out of Texas. And then we got Diami Brown, the receiver from UNC, who was a third-round pick. We had 2 third-round picks from the Trent Williams trade. And the other third-round pick was, I want to say St. Just. Yeah, Benjamin St. Just. I had never really heard, I've barely heard of him, but apparently he's pretty athletic, which was kind of the whole Washington draft. Washington was really going after athletic players.
Mm-hmm.
That was the theme of the draft, but I didn't. The draft was interesting because in the 6th round we drafted a long snapper, which Ben. Yes,
let's go.
Ben. I understand why Ben likes that, but that's just
long snappers have to unite. We will take over this team. We're gonna win a Super Bowl because of the long snapper. I'm calling it now. I'm calling
because of
it
Cameron Cheeseman.
Yep, Cameron Cheeseman. I'm gonna get a jersey. I'm gonna get a Cheeseman jersey on my back. All right, watch me show the first day of practice with my Cheeseman jersey on. Count on it, Alan.
Ridiculous. There was also a 4th round tight ends, which I have no clue why they made that draft pick. They have lots of tight ends. I mean, I think he's supposed to be a blocking tight end, so I don't know why you didn't just like that in the 4th round. But I thought overall, the steals of Diami Brown and Samuel Cosme, as well as the athletic upside of Jamin Davis, made it a really, really good draft.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
Including lots of depth on the edge. Depth on the edge.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to move on to the free agency signings, mainly the bigger ones, not really so much of the, roster type moves that we possibly made. So we got William Jackson III taking up, Ronald Darby's spot. Is that who it was?
I think he's going to take Ronald Darby's spot.
Yeah.
Depth chart says yes.
I would think, yeah. So he'd be our main number 2 cornerback. Curtis Samuel, which I actually really like this pickup. Really good pickup for us. More wide receiver help for Ryan Fitzpatrick, Heineke, and Kyle Allen, whoever the heck it is. And a man by the name of Sammy Reyes. Sammy Reyes is a very interesting pickup. So he Allen puts in the notes athletic god, which he actually is. He's a unit.
He's like what,
6'8", 2. Well,
he's that tall, but he's so basically he's a former basketball player from Chile who entered the NFL through the International Player Pathway program. So basically he's never played football before, but he's coming from playing basketball and trying to play football. But we just signed him a regular contract, so it wasn't even like you have to spend a draft pick on him. And his combine, because I think the Pathway program did their combine with my university, one of the Florida teams, and he had a 40-inch vert. I think he ran a 4.4 speed. His testing was just insane, top tier for any of the tight ends coming in. I think he had better numbers than any tight end coming in, even including Kyle Pitts. His testing is ridiculous. But the risk is he's just never played football before.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know how he's going to block or catch. So I'm willing to make that risk, though. I'm willing to make that risk on someone who's that talented.
I don't think we even spent that much money on him either.
I don't think so either.
Just a little contract just to see how he can do in things. And then we got, I believe, isn't offensive tackle or guard Eric Flowers, who's actually coming back to Washington.
Yep.
We exchanged 7th round picks to Allen. What team was it?
Dolphins.
Yes.
Thank you. So basically, he had a breakout season with us. We didn't want to pay him, so he left to Miami, and then they traded him back to us. I mean, he must have been really bad in Miami because he did pretty well for us, but they're giving him back to us for basically nothing. And they're also paying the majority of his contract. I think we're paying him $3 million a year this year, I think, at least. I don't know if he has another year left on his contract. But he's going to come in and probably play, at least left guard. Yeah. Depending on if they want to get Samuel Cosme in. But that's a pretty good move. I don't know. Exchanging 7th round picks and not having to pay the majority of the contract. to come back to a player who played really well for us. It's excellent.
Yeah, hey, any line help, in my opinion, is a step forward because we need a line can never be is
You
an
can never
offensive
have a good
line.
enough line.
Nah, that's what I was trying to say. Well, maybe the Chiefs. I mean, they made
That's ridiculous. That is so dumb. Like,
they have a pretty stacked line. Obviously, that Super Bowl loss really had them changing their mind. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to other things than football. Actually, we're gonna move on to another type of football, soccer, which or some people call it football. I mean, only here in America we call it soccer because we're built different. Anyway, so about 2 week and a half. This is when this is being filmed. Maybe 2 weeks when this is actually comes out. A European Super League was announced. Alan, did you hear about this at all or not really?
I did hear about this. It was all over Twitter, literally everywhere. Right. Yes.
Okay, so do you kind of understand what it was or not really?
I understood at the beginning. I know. So, do you want me to explain it or do you want to go on?
Well, why don't you explain it and then I'll try and do my best to kind of clarify it up for you. I think,
all right, so basically,
how I interpret it.
At the announcement of the league, they announced some of the top players, the top teams all over the country. Top teams all over the world, including Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Manchester United, and several other Premier League teams. But just a lot of the top clubs announced they were going to have this league where they were going to play each other, and it was really like, okay, like all the best teams are going to come each play each other. But immediately there was a fight back from UEFA, which is a usual tournament they have, where they said you wouldn't be able to compete in Champions League, and their players wouldn't be able to play for their national team if they agreed to it. And the national team is really important because that's like Olympics. So I think
FIFA
following that decision, I think following that decision, all of the Premier League teams decided to pull out of the league. But I have not heard about Barcelona or like Real Madrid because, to be honest, those are the only teams I'd really care about mostly because I'm a Barcelona fan.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of, because Neymar left. I don't know.
Yeah, so are you good? Are you done or?
I don't think I know too much about it, but let me look if anything's happened.
So from what I can understand, essentially, see, the one thing that it's not all around the world. It's only between like England, Italy, and Spain. Those are like the three main countries. Maybe Portugal. Maybe not Portugal. I can't remember. But from what I could understand, which was essentially all the big name, big ticket teams were, like Alan said, we're going to leave. We're going to join their own Super League. But the big catch was FIFA and, like Alan said, UEFA, who own a whole bunch of rights with soccer leagues and, soccer tournaments and, playing in the FIFA World Cup, playing in the Olympics, playing in this and that. They wouldn't be allowed because they don't have the rights. They wouldn't be able to get the rights to it because they already own it. So essentially, they'd be on their own. They would have to find a new TV channel to broadcast it on. They would have to find, they would have to create a whole new tournament. It essentially would be, imagine if every football, the last winners for the NFL football team, all the ones that made their own, or all the ones that won their division, decided to come up and make their own team. They would have to leave, like they would leave the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl. They would leave the NFL and make their own football league. That's essentially what it kind of was.
I think it's a good comparison, but it's not exactly that the same way.
Right. So, all right, put it this way. Imagine if it were like everybody that won there and then like the Patriots, whole bunch of big name, big ticket teams. And what a lot of people were arguing is if these big name, big ticket teams would leave, then all the smaller teams that kind of thrive off of, playing these teams that, maybe up and down in regulation, which if anybody doesn't know, there's a big league standing, the bottom three teams in the Premier League, I think, I can't remember all leagues, but I can remember this for Premier League. Bottom three teams in Premier League end up going down a division, and then the top three in the division below come up to Premier League. So anyway, those small teams are like, some of them are thriving off of playing these teams because then they can make an income with, well, in a normal year, fans will come back and also TV ratings and whatnot. But, if these big ticket teams were to leave, it would just be, it wouldn't be big name teams. It would be, imagine if like, I don't know. I can't really think of like some put in football terms, but for baseball, imagine like a AAA team playing a Major League Baseball team. It would be like that for a season.
The
Which
2015 Browns.
yeah, okay, something like that. But like Alan said, a whole bunch of fans were very upset, very mad about this. And actually yesterday, so this is being filmed on Monday, May 3rd. So on Sunday,
2021 for the record.
2021, May 2nd, Manchester fans protested outside the stadium because they're very mad about their owner. Their owner is, I guess, not the best owner. And they actually made it onto the field. They somehow got through the concourse and got onto the field. But the biggest catch was Manchester United was supposed to play Liverpool that game, and that game ended up getting postponed because of this. Because not only did they storm the field, but they also figured out where the players' hotel were, and they basically shut down the hotel. Like the buses couldn't leave.
Wow.
Like they literally did as much as they possibly could to stop this from happening. And well, I guess they did it, but
I think the fans were protesting the fact that there's American owners who have started to make decisions. It's the same family that owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is why they're protesting, which I can kind of understand.
Oh yeah. Supposedly these, I guess like the owners don't really care. They just care about making an extra buck essentially. But yeah, so I guess I mean the only thing that caught my eye was like the fans stormed. They got onto the field. They were kicking balls. They might have stole a net here, or they might have stole like one of those, you know, like the cone things at the end, like where they would like shoot the corners and whatnot. I saw like some fans take that, but like they were on there for like 5 minutes and then they just left. Like security didn't have to even like push them out. They just walked off. So yeah, that happened this past weekend, which is kind of crazy. And I believe the Super League is a kind of over. I'm putting like quotation marks because supposedly this happens like every 5 to 10 years. Big name teams will try and make a Super League and it never works out. So we shall see about that. Alan, do you have any other remarks towards this Super League and also the Manchester United fans storming the field?
I hadn't really heard much about the Super League in a while
Mm-hmm.
since the draft started. Like the whole draft talk started, so I haven't really heard much about it since.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely interesting. I mean, imagine if the NFL did that. Like, imagine if a whole bunch of big name ticket teams just decided to leave the NFL. That'd be kind of crazy.
I don't think it would make sense for the owners though, because they make more money staying in the NFL.
Yeah. Wherever they see the extra buck, I guess. Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to, I kind of called it baseball all around the world. Well, all around. We're just gonna talk because one thing that's tricky about baseball and basketball is that it happens. There's like a game every day, so it's kind of hard to cover games without giving up that much. So I'm just gonna kind of go over some of the April award winners. Barnes and Melanson. Barnes is from the Boston Red Sox and Melanson's from the Oakland Athletics. Were named April's top relievers. So really cool. What else? And I believe Ronald Acuna and Byron Buxton were named April's top players. I believe I'm missing. I think your main Mercedes won. Garrett Cole won AL Pitcher of the Month. So really cool for him. Who else? I believe a guy by the name of Yermaine Mercedes won a Rookie of the Month. He's been putting up numbers like crazy. But also kind of some breaking news. Dustin May, a star pitcher for the LA Dodgers, is out with Tommy John surgery. He hurt his forearm, UCL, in his right elbow, where he damaged it. And so he'll be having season-ending injury. So sorry to hear that for Dodgers fans. And also with the Dodgers, I don't think they're winning too well. I think they've dropped like 7 of their last 10 games. So they are not looking too good. But the Orioles, I just want to say, yes, we are last in the AL East. Okay? Alan's probably going to make fun of me. All right?
Ben
yes,
is celebrating this fact. Ben has actively been celebrating this.
I'm not actively celebrating. I was celebrating because of the power rankings. We weren't last. We were 25th. I'll take it, man. It's 25 out of 30. It's better than 29.
I was about to say, it's 30. Like bottom 5 is not good.
Look. We'll take a win when we take a win. We were actually winning 3 straight, and then we lost yesterday, which, well, lost against the Athletics. Anyway, we lost, sucked, but you know what? 13-15. We're only 2 games behind 500. We're only 3.5 games behind the first place Red Sox, who are actually making a really they're playing really well. The Blue Jays, they're young studs, and also some of their signees are coming back from injuries that they suffered, so that's really good. Yankees have had kind of a start to the season. They've lost some, they've won some, and then they lose some more. The Rays, I can't really talk too much about them. The Orioles, look, small improvements. We really only have 2 main pitchers, but you know what? It's 2 more than, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be positive. The Royals.
Already? That soon in the season?
Hmm?
That soon in the season, you already got to start counting the small things? Wow.
Alan,
Alan
you don't understand, yet. Alan. All right, look. Between baseball and football, like football, you might have that. You can have that one player or like that one quarterback, that one running back to have a breakout season. Like with baseball, you can't really have a pitcher that can pitch every single day because of it, so it kind of sucks. Moving on with the AL Central, the Royals are actually surprising a lot of people with a 16-10 record, being first in the AL Central, and I think they're top 10 or top 5 in the power ranking, so really good for them. White Sox doing all right, Indians doing all right, Twins doing actually surprisingly bad. Hey, we're doing better than Twins. Celebrate the small wins. And then the Tigers, Tigers only have 8 wins. So we're not last, Alan. We're not last. Athletics went on a 12-game win streak this past week, so really good for them. Mariners are actually being surprisingly good. Astros, I mean, they've had some injuries, but they win some games here and there. Angels, pitching sucks. Rangers, they're just kind of there. Nothing really too big. The NL East is just a train wreck right now. I don't know what's up with East divisions for some reason. They just all suck. They're never good, or they're not good for a while. Mets surprisingly not doing well. Phillies, they're doing all right. They've won. Braves surprisingly doing bad. Marlins, kind of surprisingly they're doing bad, but they also had a Cinderella story last year. Nationals, Nationals are Nationals. Brewers doing really well. Their pitching staff is really holding them down. Cardinals starting to pick up speed. Reds doing okay. I mean, they're like a team that wins some games here. Pirates are surprisingly not doing bad. They're not last in division. The Cubs, I mean, they really only have one batter that's really carrying the team, which is surprisingly. And then the NL West, I mean, my perspective, probably the most surprising, the Giants. San Francisco Giants are actually leading right now by only half a game behind the Dodgers. Again, Dodgers are losing some, or believe I've lost 7 of our last 10 at the time of this recording. Padres, again, sometimes they just need their pitching sometimes doesn't hold them, which is surprising because they have 3 Cy Youngs or 3 possible Cy Youngs, so kind of crazy. Diamondbacks, I mean, they're just holding in there. They're trying to win. The Rockies trying to hold. Well, they try. And besides that, that's pretty much from baseball. Yeah, I mean, it's still really early in the season. But we shall see. In the time coming. So yeah, that's pretty much been baseball. A month review of baseball. That's what we'll try to do from here on out. All right, Alan, you're a big LeBron James fan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time of this recording, he said this 2 days ago after coming back from his injury. So I believe he was asked how he feels about LeBron James was asked after coming back from his high ankle sprain. He said, or responding back, if he'll ever become 100%. He said it's impossible. I don't think I'll ever get back to 100% in my career. How does that make you feel, Alan?
I don't think it's surprising, to be honest. LeBron's getting up there in age. I think we've all been waiting for oh yeah, he's got to stop. He's got to fall off at some point. Mm-hmm. I think you also need to consider how how short of an offseason he had compared to other players. He didn't get any rest between his long championship run and when he had to start the season again. I believe he's sitting out his game either tonight or the next game, whenever the next game is, just because of the soreness of the high ankle. But it's very sad to see my favorite player, who has been an Iron Man throughout his entire career, just deal with injuries more as age catches up.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna cry if he retires?
Probably. Yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm probably just never gonna watch basketball again unless it's the finals.
Jeez. Okay.
I don't really watch it that much anyway.
Yeah, true.
Like, the Wizards are never good. No reason to root for them.
They actually were on like a 7 or 8 game win streak.
Are they ever going to win the championship? No.
Give it time. Give it time. Give it time. Give it time.
I feel like the Wizards have been saying that for like 20 years now.
I mean, I'm a Thunder fan, so I can't really be talking. So, well.
I mean, you guys have like every draft pick in the next like 20 years, don't you? Like,
yeah, but every single draft pick is probably gonna be at the bottom because trade with the dang Clippers, Lakers, Suns. Suns are doing really well. I mean, they
just clinched a stacked team.
Yeah,
it's gonna have depth.
Oh. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Lunch Table Podcast. It has been me and Alan, and it's been a pleasure to finally be back and to talk about sports because we really did miss it. But we're back, and soon, hint, hint, soon, you might be seeing our faces and in a real life type scenario. So there are some possibilities of that. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Ben. It's my friend Alan. We'll see y'all next week.
Make sure to like and subscribe.